for the registration. So far we discussed like some like pre-registration work we need to do. All what exactly the minimum number of members is required before applying for the registration. Now it is a typical. I mean, actually, while applying before the registration, what all other supporting documents need to be submitted. One is the application. I said in a form number A. This is what we said. I think like somebody can read.
So may I?
Yeah, yeah.
Every application for registration of a trade union shall be made to the registrar and shall be acco- sorry, accompanied, sorry, sir,
Accompanied.
accompanied by a copy of the rules of the trade union and a statement of the following particulars,
Yeah, I
namely,
mean, yeah. So application, we know that application we need to apply before the registrar, and I mean, you can apply for the registration of the trade union only to the registrar. He is very specifically appointed for the purpose of an registration of the trade union. So registrar, he is having some obligation that in case if you satisfy all the conditions laid down under the Trade Union Act, and he'll have to register the union, and he cannot say no. And in case if he say no, so he can make an he can approach the court. He can approach the court at any time. So he cannot deny unless and until you satisfy all the requirements. So, and you must accompany, this is what we discussed, the rules of the trade union. So, each and every trade union, they need to have like their own rules. And so, we need to supply rules along with the an application. So, and the statement of the following particulars also you need to submit. So, let's see like what are all particulars you need to submit. Yeah.
the names, occupations, and addresses of the members making the application.
Exactly. So, here their name, their occupation or profession, and their address of members making the application. So this is what general in nature. May be a worker or may not be a worker. Suppose like he is not a worker in any other people in case if they want to apply, and so their names, occupation, and address of the members making the application. Who is making an application? So their names we want. After that.
In the case of a trade union of workmen, the names, occupations, and addresses of the place of work of the members of the trade union making the application.
Exactly. This is what, in case if it is a trade union of the workmen, in a above case it is general what we said. This is what a trade union of the workmen. Suppose if it is a trade union of the workmen, so their name and their occupation and where exactly they work. So that details we need to submit before registrar. Okay. Yeah.
The name of the trade union and the address of its head office and
Exactly. See, while applying for a registration, you need to name your union. You need to name your union. Suppose if you want to see, this is what I mean. I think in the industrialization part, sir may discuss the various union in India. So maybe like the ITEC. I mean, these are all like some of the trade union in India. ITEC, All India Trade Union Congress, or INTEC. So Indian National Trade Union Congress, and we have like BMS. We have Bharatiya Mazdoor Sabha, and so there are so many unions in India. I think like he may discuss in detail about so these aspects, so like various the trade union which is existed already existed in India. So these are all some of the famous unions in India. We have like SITU and a lot more union. Say within a one establishment you can see a number of union because see one same establishment. Say in case if you take uh, uh, have you heard about the MCF Mangalore, Mangalore Chemical Factory? So there we could find a number of unions. In one establishment, you need not have only one union. So in a one establishment, you may find like multiple unions. This is what one of the problem of union today what they are facing. So there is a rivalry. Unnecessarily they compete with each other and they collapse. That is the one major problem what the union is facing now. There is because like each and every union, so their understanding or their objective is entirely different, and at the same time it is not only like objective. The problem here, problem of like most of the not most, almost all union which is politically affiliated to one or the other political parties. So BMS may be affiliated to the BJP, or say ITAC or INTAC may be affiliated to the Congress or the Communist, say too, etc. So that's what one of the problem what union is facing at present. Affiliation from the political parties, and like ultimately they are using all these affiliation for their political gain. That's it, political gain. But here you need to name the union, whatever name. Suppose today if you want to name your union like ABC union, so that you need to you should name your and you should submit before a registrar. That's it. But one of the condition here, while naming your union, it should not resemble. See, there are some people are disturbing. I think like Manali, you are typing, WhatsApp.
No, sir.
So
No,
stop
sir.
chatting. I think I don't like it. No, you. So you should name your union. You should name your union. But this name, it should not resemble like other company's name or other union name. It should not closely resemble. And at the same time, whatever like a name, it should not like they mislead the public. You cannot mislead the public. So it should be misleading and it's not misleading in nature. And there are a lot of other things like while naming your union. So one of the requirement of this, while approaching before a registrar along with the application and address, you need to also submit the name and the address of the head office of your union. Suppose if you want to start a union in Udupi, and that you need to submit. That's it. Okay. Yeah, read it.
Yes. The titles, names, ages, addresses, and occupations of the office bearers of the trade union.
See, at the same time, while applying for the registration, so we know that in order to run your trade union, there must be office bearers. Office bearers. So that office bearer's name, age, and address also need to be named, need to be submitted. So office bearers, maybe like a clerk, or there may be like the chairman or presiding officer, or all these like office bearers name, secretary. So those names need to submit so in a separate sheet. So these are all office bearers of the our trade union. So that details also you need to submit before a registrar. Any doubt here? So there are like three requirements.
No, sir.
Very simple to understand. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Where a trade union has been in existence for more than 1 year before the making of an application for its registration, there shall be delivered to the registrar, together with the application, a general statement of the assets and liabilities of the trade union prepared in such form and containing such particulars as may be prescribed.
See, the unions also, they need to maintain their accounts. They need to maintain their accounts. So, see, as I said, the registration of the union is not at all mandatory. It is not at all mandatory. But in case if you register under the Trade Union Act of 1926, you are enjoying some benefits. That privileges we'll discuss later. So you can sue, or say you can enter into a contract, or you'll be having a separate legal entity, and there is even like even employer also they may recognize your union. So there are so many advantages in case if you register. So that's what indirectly Act says that you will have to register. That's it. But Act doesn't say directly. So whether registration is compulsory, no, Act doesn't say. But indirectly you can enjoy some benefits. Now there are some people what they'll do. So union they might have started in a year 2018. Let an example. 18 they might have started. Now in a 2020 they want to apply for a registration of the union. Now, if this is the case, you need to submit along with the previous document what we discussed, like application, name and address, those details. Along with that, you need to also submit an accounts which stating like the assets and liabilities of your the union. That you need to submit before a registrar. It's applicable to the union which is already existed for more than 1 year before making an application. So all like assets and liabilities also you need to submit along with the application. So these are all application you need to submit. Some application in form number A you need to submit, and members name address you need to submit, and you need to submit even office bearers name, and you need to submit like name of the union and head office details, those details, and along with that you need to also submit the assets and liabilities of the trade union. So this is what the requirement. Clear? Hope you know assets and liabilities. You had a general paper in accountancy, and I think like the experts already explained the assets and the liabilities.
Yes, sir.
If it is the first time, like I would explain, because especially like these medical and engineering students, whenever we explain in a balance sheet the plant and machinery, they look outside for the plant. So that was a scene when I was taking a class. So that should not happen. That's what I said, that the assets and liabilities and basics of or fundamentals of assets and liabilities you might be knowing, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now we'll discuss section 6. Can you recall section 3, section 4, section 5? Section 3 says that appointment of
Registrar.
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 Section 4 says that mode.
The mode of
Yes.
Mode of
Section 5 says that
application for registration.
Application for registration.
application for registration.
Yes, what all requirement in the submit? We need to what all document we need to submit along with the application. So that we discussed. Now we'll discuss in a provisions to be contained in the rules. We discussed in a section 5 along with the application. Even rules of the trade union we discussed. Rules of the trade union to be submitted. So we'll discuss like what exactly the contents of that rules of a trade union. What should be included in a rules. So we'll discuss under section 6. Yes. Anybody else want to read?
Yes, sir. A trade union shall not be entitled to registration under this Act unless the executive thereof is constituted in accordance with the provisions of this Act and the rules thereof provide for the following matters.
Exactly. So executives in the sense office bearers we discussed, office appointment of office bearers and the rules thereof. What exactly the content? Now we'll discuss. See, now with the following matters, in the sense like what exactly we need to submit before, now like a name of the union that we discussed just now. Yes.
The whole of the object for which the trade union has been established.
This should be specified. While submitting an application itself, what exactly the object for which you want to form a union. So that should be clear. So object for which a trade union has been created. Yes.
The
Yeah,
whole
please.
of the purposes for which the general funds of the trade union shall be applicable, all of which purposes shall be purposes to which such funds are lawfully applicable under the Act.
Here that we'll discuss in detail section 15 of the Act says that section 15 of this Trade Union Act says that you need to maintain like a general fund. So now while applying before register for the registration, you must specify what exactly the purpose for which you are going to use this general fund. See, there are two fund what the union can maintain. One is the general fund, and one more a political fund. This political fund, the very purpose of the legislatures, in order to encourage the members of the union to participate in a political activities. For the political activity purposes, this political fund can be used. But when it comes to like general fund purpose, you need to object for which general fund can be used, that you need to list while applying before the registrar. So you need to specify for what purpose you are going to use this general fund. Say for example, a salary to the salary to whom salary should be paid, all office bearers, clerk and those people, why they'll work. So office bearers, you need to pay the salary. Or else say for example, there is a case against union members. So you need to maintain a lawsuit before a court of law. So who will bear this like a law cost, or like this cost expenses, lawyers fees and court fees? So I mean general fund can be used. So that's what the purpose for which general fund can be used, so that you should specify before registrar. You should satisfy before registrar that. So we maintain a general fund for this purpose, and for these are all purpose, so we can use the general fund. So later you cannot deviate the fund. Now like you specified certain purpose for which a fund can be used. For that purpose only you must use the general fund. For other purpose you cannot use the general fund. For example, political fund you cannot take for general fund. General fund you cannot take for the political activities, because there is a separate fund called like a political fund. Clear? Or say for example, they want to go for a strike. Expenses can be taken for, I mean, legal strike. Whenever I say like strike, it is a legal strike, what we discussed under Industrial Dispute Act. Under I mean, the general fund can be used. And in case if they want to go for some protest, yes, the fund for general fund can be used. Everything should happen legally, that's it. But beforehand, you please submit all these details before registrar, that yes, we have like a general fund, and these are all purpose for which we are using a general fund. That's it. Any questions?
Sir,
Yeah, please.
sir, in case if the organization is planning to, like they want to held a program or any activities, whether
Yes,
they
yes.
can use
I mean,
any general.
organization in sense, this is what the employee, workmen, in suppose under the trade union, in case if they want to, a very good question, in fact, like very good guess. In case if they want to organize any program, so such programs, yes, the general fund can be used. Yes, absolutely. For the union activity, whatever the union activity, I mean, we are talking about all union activities in the sense all illegal activities completely prohibited. Nobody is allowed to take a law into their hand. I mean, legal activity, whatever the program, yes, in case if they want to organize some cultural event, yes, a general fund can be used. Or like in order to, in case if they want to maintain a record, yes, general fund can be used. So that's what the very purpose of the general fund. So all these purposes it can be used. Clear, Janita?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, continue.
The maintenance of a list of the members of trade union and adequate facilities for inspection thereof by office bearers and members of trade union.
Exactly. See, maintenance of list of members, you need to maintain like a list of the members of a union. How many members are there? Suppose you see trade union members, we discussed this for our purpose. So some of the union may have like more than a crore members or more than a lakh members. So list of that list need to be maintained and adequate facilities for the inspection thereof by the office bearers and members of the union. Suppose all like records what they maintain, so you need to provide a facility and you should allow the office bearers in case if they want to inspect so those documents and whoever the members in case if they want to check it they can check it all these the documents. So that rule also you need to how to what provisions you made, what facility you made in order to inspect all these the documents. So that need to be documented properly. Yes.
The admission of ordinary members who shall be person actually engaged or employed in an industry with which the trade union is connected, and also the admission of the number of honorary or temporary members as office bearers required under section 22 to form the executive of trade union.
Yeah, see, here, how to admit or how you can, you are going to admit like ordinary members who are the members of a union, who are engaged or who are the workmen. So that you should make it clear. How a new member can be admitted to the union. That must be clear. I mean, see, all like procedures should be laid down. That's it. It should be very precise. And admission of like a number of honorary or temporary members. There are some union may appoint in an ad hoc basis temporary members. So those details also, I mean, need to be specified very clearly. In case if you want to take like new members, what is the procedure? In case if you want to appoint like ad hoc members, office bearers, or like what is the procedures? So that should be clearly specified. That's it. Each and every rules need to be clearly spelled. That's it. Yeah. Now, for it continues further rules. Yes.
The payment of minimum subscription by members of trade union which shall not be less than.
See, in order to become a member of the union, all members need to pay some like a subscription charge. Subscription charge. They need to pay like a subscription charge. What is that subscription charge? So that you need to specify. How much a workman need to pay? One second, hold on. Yes. So subscription charge. Yeah, to become a member of a union, you need to pay like a subscription charge, like a membership fee. So that should be specified. How much you need to, but it should not be, which shall not be less than. This is what important. It should not be less than. I mean, Act specifies what is the minimum amount what the members they need to pay. Shall not be less than. See, very small amount. This is what union is suffering today. One of the problem what the union is facing is a financial problem, lack of fund. I mean, without fund, so they cannot run their business or they cannot function. And of course, like big trade unions, of course, like they'll get a fund from political parties, or there are a lot of other like sources of fund they can contribute, donate. They'll take a donation. But there are some trade union very difficult to survive because of this poor membership fee. I mean, 1 rupee per annum for rural workers, they can charge 1 rupee per annum. I mean, per annum, just imagine, per year, 1 rupee. Next. Yeah.
3 rupees per annum for workers in other unorganized sectors.
Unorganized sectors. Hope you know the organized sector and unorganized sector. What are the sectors which is which may be unorganized? Unorganized sector, say for example, some of agricultural sector and some of even like a manufacturing sector where there are less number of employees, just with a few attendants, goldsmith, carpenters with a small attendance, where there is no applicability of all like labor laws, and they cannot take any benefit from any law of the country. So I mean organized sector. For in case in organized sector, in case if they want to have their own union, their annual subscription fee minimum 3 rupees per annum. For 1 year, 3 rupee. Yeah. In
12
any other case?
annum for workers in any other case.
In any other case, 12 rupee. I mean 1 rupee per month. So this is what a subscription charge what they need to pay. Yes. This is with respect. Yeah. Next.
The conditions under which any member shall be entitled to any benefit assured by the rules and under which any fine or forfeiture may be imposed on the member.
Exactly. So, I mean, so what are the conditions to get any benefit? So that you need to see. Even members of the union also they're going to get some benefit from the union. So that should be clearly spelled out. That's what we discussed. So what are the conditions? Suppose, say, for example, trade union want to give an education to their children, I mean, children in the sense members' children. Say what exactly like criteria or conditions they should fulfill. So whether they should become a 1 year member or 2 year member. So these conditions should be clearly spelled out in order to get a benefit. Fine. And even like rules need to be framed clearly with respect to the fine and forfeiture. Say maybe imposed on the members fine. Say for what all act like fine can be imposed in case if they went against the rules of the union. So what and for what are all conditions in which fine can be imposed, it should be clearly spelled out. So this is what with respect to the rules. Yeah.
The manner in which the rules shall be amended, varied, or
Yes.
re-signed.
Now, like suppose after 2 years they want to change the rules, and how to change? What is the manner? What is the minimum number of members is required in order to amend? All office bearers who must, who can, what circumstance they can change, when they can change, whether amendment is happening through vote. So these are all things should be clearly spelled out. So there are all like rules how it can be varied or the rescinded or how it can be amended. Yes. Yeah.
The manner in which the members of the executive and other office bearers of trade union shall be elected and removed.
Exactly. Office bearers, how they can be elected, how they can be removed. So it should be clearly mentioned. So these are all like the rules. So we said in application they should submit rules. So it should be clearly spelled out. So all these contents must be there in rules of the trade union. I think it is very clear. So today you cannot decide and tomorrow you cannot go for registration. Certain things like you need to comply. You need to have an object. You need to have a lot of rules and appointment or membership fee or certain what purpose benefit or how we can change amend or how we can appoint office bearers, how we can remove office bearers. So all these things should be clearly spelled out. So hope you understood now some other the documents. What are the documents? Application you need to submit and rules you need to submit. Subscribers list you need to show. You need to show the members list and other documents you need to submit before the registrar for the registration. Now we'll discuss about under what circumstance power to call for further particulars and to require alteration of the name. Who is having a power here? Registrar is having a power. What circumstance he may call back the union to ask for certain requirements and alteration of the name. Suppose, as I said, suppose the name of the union is misleading the public, or in order to deceive the public, so such name should be avoided. Such name should be avoided. So that's what, while naming your union, it should be, I mean, very clear, and it should be attractive, and rather than attractive, it should not mislead the public. There are some people, I mean, even students also have seen, when I was a placement officer in 2014-15, and while collecting all email IDs of the students, and it was amazing, some of the students, how they name their email IDs, like some like a fancy name they'll give. Rather than fancy can give, but some name, like one, surprisingly, one student, he gave like dogs 1 2 3. I don't know whether he himself calling him as a dog, or I don't know. So that was a scene, and so a lot of other funny things I observed during my the placement journey. So here the very purpose, while naming your union, you should not. It's, I mean, it should be very attractive, and it should not, name should not deceive the public or mislead the public. That's it. That is the intention. And suppose register, in case if he not satisfied with the particulars submitted by the union, so he can call back and he can ask union to submit like some more particulars, some more the particulars. We'll discuss further. Yes. Anyone want to read? Other than anyone? Anyone else?
Sir, may I?
Yes.
The register may call for further information for the purpose of satisfying
Who
himself
is this?
that
I think a new girl. Who's this?
Meghna, sir.
Meghna. Yes.
Satisfying himself that any application complies with the provisions of Section 5, or that the trade union is entitled to registration under Section 6, and may refer to register the trade union until
Refer or
such
refuse? May?
may refuse to register the trade union until such information is supplied.
Exactly. Say, in case if we have not satisfied with the requirements under section 5 and 6, that union have not met the requirements under section 5 and 6, directly there is no obligation on the registrar to register the same. There is no obligation. There is a zero obligation on registrar to register, in case if they have not complied with the section 6 and section 5. And what he may straightaway, he may refuse to register, and he may ask for the he may say that he are not satisfied with the information what is supplied, and he may ask for the further the clarification further. Yes.
If the name under which the trade union is proposed to be registered is identical with that by which any other existing trade union has been registered, or in the opinion of the registrar, so nearly resembles such name as it to be likely to deceive the public or the members of either trade union, the registrar shall require the person applying for registration to alter the name of the trade union stated in the application, and shall refuse to register the union until such alteration has been made.
Exactly. This is what I said. Suppose registrar, in case if you felt that your name is identical with the other union, or which is resembles with the other union, or in case if it deceives the public or mislead the public, so straight away he may ask you to alter the name, or he may ask the union members to alter the name. Until and unless you alter the name, so registrar is having all the right to say no for the registration of the union. So this is what the section 7 says. So section 7 gives a power to the registrar not to register the union unless and until you satisfy the requirements under section 5 and section 6. That's it. Right. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Agna. Tushita, continue.
Section 8 registration. The registrar, on being satisfied that the trade union has complied with all the requirements of this act in regard to registration, shall register the trade union by entering in a register to be maintained in such form as may be prescribed. The particulars relating to the trade union contained in the statement accompanying the application for registration.
Exactly. If he satisfies that, so they fulfilled almost all the conditions which is required under the Trade Union Act. What registrar will do? Registrar will straight away he register the union name in a register maintained by the registrar. This is important. So he'll write the union their registration number and register. In a register he'll write he'll register the name of the union and other particulars he may mention. Simple. So registration is done now. Registration is done. So when the registration can be cancelled. So what he'll do once registration is over, now he'll get a trade union will get a certificate of registration. Yes, Tushita, read.
The registrar, on registering a trade union under Section 8, shall issue a certificate of registration in the prescribed form, which shall be conclusive evidence that trade union has been duly registered under this Act.
Exactly. This like he'll issue a certificate of registration. This is one of the conclusive evidence that so your union is registered for any purpose. For in case the employer want to recognize your union, in case if we want to recognize your union, certificate you can show. So our union has been registered, so that employer may recognize. See, there is a difference between recognition and registration. Recognition in the sense recognition by the employer, because for the collective bargaining and other negotiation purpose, there is one of the requirement an employer need to recognize such a union. I mean, employer sometimes he may recognize particular union that so we'll recognize this union for the other collective bargaining and other negotiation. So whenever issue happens, what employer will do? Employer will communicate to such unions. And at the same time, there is no law so far to compulsorily recognition of the union as well. Employer is under no obligation to recognize such union. But in order to maintain peace and harmony within an organization, usually what employer will do, any registered union, he'll see and he may ask for registration certificate and he may recognize the union. So that's what, in case if you satisfy all the requirements, what registrar will do, he'll register in a register maintained by him, and after that he'll issue a certificate under section 9 of the act. So now you received a certificate. Now this is evidence that you registered your union. That's it. So that certificate you can use for all the other purposes. Understood? This is exactly like what certificate of registration under the Companies Act. Have anybody studied like a Companies Act? Company Act? Either there are some students might have studied old Act 1956, and now like we have separate Act 2013, Companies Act of 2013. Anybody studied this Companies Act?
No,
you
sir.
can start a company as a, either you can start a company as a private company, and you can start a company as a public company. And once you register this company, and how you'll get a separate legal entity. So those concept, whether you studied anywhere? No. Corporate law you are not studied at all.
No, sir.
Okay.
No,
Okay. For your understanding, suppose if you want to register the company under the Companies Act of 2013, so either you can start your company as a private company and a public company. Private company in the sense your company, I mean, is a private. You are getting a capital from the private source, maybe from your friends or family. But a public company in the sense you are raising a fund from the public by issuing a shares. To the public. So it's a public company. And once you register a company as a private or public company, your company will get as one entity, that is a separate legal entity. Your company is separate from its members. So exactly like this like a legal entity, even like the union will get union, and it will become a separate legal entity. So as a separate legal entity, this union may enter into a contract or with a union name, so they can sue or be sued, and they can enter into a contract with an outsider, exact like a human being. I think like those part uh, uh, it is, I mean, we need to discuss a lot more other things in order to understand these things. So just for your knowledge, I said. Now, like a certificate of registration, they got. So they'll get some identity before the eyes of law. Any questions? Now, whether registrar is having a power to withdraw this certificate any time during the lifetime of union? Registrar. So registrar at any time he may cancel the registration. What time? When? Can you guess what are all the circumstances in which registrar may cancel the registration?
Sir, in case
So,
if they violate the rules
misconduct.
of the
Exactly.
earlier sector.
Exactly. In case if you obtain the certificate by fraud, see, on the application verified in such a manner as may be prescribed. Now see, yeah, read it. Vikas, you can read.
Yes, sir. Section 10, cancellation of registration. A certificate of registration of a trade union may be withdrawn or cancelled by the registrar in the following cases. Number one, on the application of the trade union to be verified in such manner as
There
may
are
be.
sometime union may apply before a register for the cancellation. So they may withdraw that we don't want to register. One case. Second case.
Yeah, if the registrar is satisfied that the certificate has been obtained by fraud or mistake, or
Exactly.
that trade union has ceased to
Yes.
exist
Ceased
as.
to exist in sense it is not at all existed. Simply they registered. Hawk.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
There are
or
some
has
company also same thing. Company, I said, private company. There are some people just to, in order to evade the tax, what they'll do, they'll start a company, they'll register a company. After that, they don't start their business. Cease to exist. Just for the namesake, they'll register. So if such things, so he may cancel. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, or has willfully and after notice from the registrar contravened any provision of this act or allowed any rule to continue in force which is inconsistent with any such provision, or has resigned any rule
Resigned.
providing for any matter provision for which is required by section 6.
Exactly. These are all grounds in which, suppose if they obtain the certificate by fraud or by misleading certain information. So this is what will happen while registering the union. Some of the fake document they may produce before the registrar. And in case if he satisfies that a certain certificate is obtained by fraud and there is no office bearer, and he, in case if he feel that no, there is no trade union existed at all, there is no head office, there is no office bearer, it is just in a paper. In case if he satisfies that, immediately he may order for the cancellation of the union. So this is what the entire picture on the registration of a trade union. Any doubt in this? Any doubt? Section 3 onwards we started. Section 3 we started. Hope you can recall the points. Section 3 says that registration, right? Registration. Section 4, appointment of registrar, sorry. And section 4 says that mode.
Mode of registration.
Correct. Section 5.
Application of registration.
Correct.
Application for registration.
Exactly. Section 6.
Provisions to be contained.
Provisions to be contained
Correct.
in the
Rules. All contents of the rules of the trade union. Correct. Section 7. Further.
power to call
Power to call
for further
Further
particulars and to
information.
require.
Section 8. He'll
Registration.
write it in a registration form. Section 9,
Certificate of registration.
directly he'll
Certificates for
issue
registration.
certificate of registration. Section 10, cancellation.
Cancellation of
Cancellation.
In examination